Are we recording? Is it going? I can't tell. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Well, yes, thank you for joining us, Vanessa. As I said, I'm David Ouellette. I think you've met me a couple times in class. This is Jenny. We're happy to have you here for the Pitch Perfect workshop today. It's basically going to get you all the information you need to kind of get ready for the MVP competition and help you learn a little bit about what goes into making a really awesome pitch, and then actually talking about the specific, things that we're looking for in the pitch for this competition. So obviously you've heard of pitching before. It's probably something that's not new because we've all been doing it our whole lives, but basically just proposing a new idea is kind of the cornerstone of this competition. And the idea is to gain support for it. I'm sure from when you were a little kid, pitching your parents to stay up late at night, to trying to convince your professors to give extension on deadlines is something that you may have done in the past. But either way, it's a great skill to learn and develop because we're always selling ourselves in many different capacities to get ahead and to hopefully get what you want in life and get what you want in your business. And as a working professional, or entrepreneur, you're definitely going to encounter various opportunities to sell yourself, your business, and your ideas, beyond advancing your career. Knowing how to build and deliver a pitch can really help you gain customers, gain investors, for your business. So pitching in business, specifically what we're talking about here is presenting your business idea to another party. So for example, you can, pitch your startup to potential investors or your products to potential customers. We'll be focusing on either an investor pitch or a small sales pitch towards your customers for this competition. So you need to choose a lane of what you're going to be pitching towards. Now, a great business pitch, it needs to give your audience a very clear understanding of your plan or your goals in order to gain buy-in, to get them to really, be hooked and want to either give you money or buy your product or your service. And to do this, we've got to gather and share, relevant research or provide a compelling vision that will motivate and persuade your audience in some way to follow your idea and help make it a reality by taking some type of action like buying or investing. Now, before we kind of get into more of the presentation, I'm going to show you a couple example videos here of some past presenters for the competition, just to give you an idea of what yours could look like. All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Davidson and I am in my third year at Fanshawe College in the Business Administration Marketing program, and I'm also the co-owner of Flicker Candle Co. And today I'm asking for $1,000 to invest directly into social media marketing campaigns and the improvement of our website. This business started in 2019 as two friends making candles in our kitchen and giving them as gifts to our friends and family. We then took our product to local markets and ended up selling out at every one we participated in. Now we have sold thousands of candles through our website and the 7 retail locations we sell our product in, but mostly through collaborating with several different brands. So to the product. Our products are hand-poured scented soy wax candles, and yes, you're right, this is a fairly saturated market, which is why we have differentiated our product. Let me ask you this, what does a candle do to your home? It brings ambiance, warmth, and honestly just really changes the look and feel of the space. With that information, we have targeted realtors. We have been collaborating with several realtors to create a product with their personal brand for them to give as gifts to their customers. We customize the labels and scents to be exactly what they envision. They also use our candles in their show homes to create a lasting professional impression and great decor piece. Our previous customers in the real estate industry have been continuously placing bulk orders since they first started doing business with us. They said this was the perfect low-cost investment on how to make themselves stand out. People will always be purchasing candles, and with our niche target market, I truly believe this will continue to be a profitable business. Thank you for your time and take care.
Awesome. So that was Brooke, one of our winners from last year. Now we have Olive Garlic Flakes.
Hi everyone, I'm Friselda Bore, student of Business Management in Fanshawe College. I am seeking $1,000 for food safety license, marketing, and inventory. In these pandemic times, aside from the vaccine, the only other thing we can control is ensuring we stay above the health risk we are facing, and that is by making our immune system strong. How can we do that if you are asking me? By eating healthy food. A sprinkle of olive garlic flakes cooked in olive oil, and your food will be antibacterial, antivirus, anti-heart ailments, and anti-cancer already. And wait, it's proven not to give the stink of garlic breath as well. With the initial fund, I'll be able to have a food safety license for $250, marketing affiliate website and hosting, both for 2 years, and 266 bottles of 100 grams garlic flakes, complete with packaging like this. My client acquisition cost is 57 cents and my profit margin is 130%. Should we be able to sell 111 bottles at $9 each, we will hit break even and a return of your investment already. Can be a personal giveaway, a corporate souvenir, or for any person who likes to add flavor. Our end goal is to become a staple condiment like salt and pepper. Olive garlic flakes. It's organic, eat garlic.
Okay, now we have one more.
My name is Josh Light and I'm the CEO of CupAd, and we believe that we have the most effective form of advertising available in the market today. Our advertisements are exposed to customers for 2,220 seconds on average. Now, what kind of advertising has that kind of exposure time? Ladies and gentlemen, we advertise on coffee cups. That's right, we put your brand in their hand. So how does coffee cup advertising work? Well, we got an advertiser. They pay us money. We produce paper coffee cups with their advertisement or brand on it. Then we give these coffee cups to coffee stands for free. Now, why does someone want to advertise on a coffee cup? Because it takes an individual 37 minutes to drink a cup of coffee on average. That person's going to have to look at the cup, drink, look at the cup, drink 20 times before it's fully consumed. And that person's going to move around like a mobile billboard, exposing that brand to at least 6 different individuals before that cup is drank. What's in it for CupAd? We make 13 cents of profit on every single cup that we distribute. And what's in it for the coffee stands? Well, when most people think about coffee stands, they think about Starbucks. But what about the 25,000 coffee stands in this nation that have plain white cups like this? They don't have the economies to scale to put their own brand on the cup. So we give them free cups. They save $15,000 a year by not buying cups. They like these savings so much, ladies and gentlemen, that approximately 80% of the stands that we've contacted have signed exclusivity agreements to distribute our cups. And what kind of momentum have we started for this company? The last month alone, we got 58 coffee stands in California to sign exclusivity agreements with us to distribute our cups. If we continue to get 58 coffee stands every single month, for the next 12 months, we will have 700 coffee stands at the end of the year. With 700 coffee stands, we can move 8 million cups a month. And at 13-cent profit, 8 million cups a month, we're making over $1 million of profit every single month. And we've already started this, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, our first customer, Overstock.com, will see their cups hit the California market in 21 days. Thank you very much.
So, as you can see from kind of those 3 examples, there was definitely some similarities. Each one was a little bit different. And, we're giving you kind of carte blanche to be as creative as you want with this presentation. We really, it's about the message. You can make it look, you can use funny imagery and different things like that. We'll talk about that in a second. But really at the core of it, there's definitely some similarities you see in that message. The mention of the target market, mention of what the product is, the mention of who the person that's presenting is, a little bit around their business model, a bit about their research and how they're making money, and a little bit in their costing. So there's definitely key elements that mix between those 3 pitches, and it's up to you to kind of come up with the formula of it. Now, we'll give you a layout of what we want to see throughout this presentation, but before you kind of get into actually building it, I just want to give you some guidelines here that can really help you create a great pitch. So these are kind of 5 things to consider before you actually start building. So the first one, which is conducting and gathering research, here it's just, we want to make sure you know what you're talking about. So if you're going to make claims during your pitch, then you need to provide accurate data or research that actually supports those claims. This information definitely helps to demonstrate your credibility, but also it helps build trust with the audience. If we were doing this in person, there may be a follow-up question from the judge asking, well, how did you know that? So always assume when you're making any claims that assume someone could be there on the other end asking you a question about that. Make sure it seems like you would have given them enough information. Research really helps you to prepare, to answer any kind of rebuttal that someone might have over whether or not your idea is great. So things that you might want to see here, things on the size of the market, the value of the market, information about your target customer, or information about the pain or benefit, that you've observed with your audience, or the benefit that you could be providing. Okay. The next thing to make sure is that you understand your audience. In addition to kind of business related research, you also need to research your audience well, your target customer, as well as the target audience of this pitch. So remember, you're pitching to investors or you're pitching to customers here. So try to understand what would motivate one versus the other. These insights can really help you tailor your pitch to appeal directly to them. So, you want to make it personal. So that can help with, being more effective and more motivational if it feels a little bit more directed to them. Okay. So helps to understand what they specifically can gain from your idea. Obviously, an investor, they're looking like, okay, I'm investing, $1,000 into your business. What's going to happen with that money? What might I get in return? If it's a customer, you're trying to pitch them on the value of what you're offering, right? How's it going to improve their life or make their life better or solve a problem for them in some way, shape, or form? You want to also make sure to keep it focused. So when presenting your pitch, you don't have a lot of time here. You got to get straight to your main message. Make sure you explain what your product, your idea, or your business is, and then demonstrate why it benefits people in some way, shape, or form. The audience will need to understand and follow the purpose of your message to stay engaged. So there is a bit of a flow here that you'll have to figure out, and for this reason, it can definitely help to start with just an easy to understand summary that gets, attention or attracts attention, a big data point or a story that gets them interested and helps them relate. Those are always great ways to keep people focused in on the message. But, focusing your pitch by only offer kind of the most essential and relevant information to your audience. There's going to be a lot of stuff you might want to put in there. Just make sure you only have time for the most important stuff. Okay. So make sure, when you're writing this, you want to stick to around 300, 350 words would probably be max when you're writing this out. So that's not a lot of time to say what you need to say. So focus on the most important stuff. So for example, when pitching to investors, you may need to include details like the amount of money you need and the specific activities that it's going to go towards. Like if we notice from Brooke's pitch, right, she mentioned she was going to use it for social media marketing campaigns specifically. Using visual and interactive elements here. So, if you've got data, you can throw up some charts, right? You can throw up infographics. It's an easy way to add some visual interest to your presentation, but it can also just be you and the camera, right? That's all it needs to be. It can just be you holding up your cell phone. It's up to you. Do what you're comfortable with, but I suggest, trying to get creative and have some fun with it. It can be a good time, right? Lastly, differentiating from the competition. So as consumers, like all of us here, we're always comparing, product A to product B, service A to service B. It's part of business. We're always in that comparison mode, right? So standing out from the crowd is certainly going to be crucial for you. Your investors and your customers want to know why they should choose you over anyone else. And no matter what business you're in, you're 100% going to have competition. So don't make the assumption in your presentation that no other competitor exists out there. So make it clear why people should choose you. What makes you unique? What makes you awesome? Why you and not the competitor? Okay. So now Jenny's going to jump into writing the pitch, which is what to include.
Yeah. So your target customer. Who is your target customer? Who are you selling to or impacting? Who will be the user and or the buyer? You want to show or state your research. So do you have proof yet? Primary or secondary research? Brooke mentioned that the market was saturated for candles. So why did she why did she choose to target realtors instead, right? So have you validated this market, you know, pre-sales, sales, signups, Instagram pages with followers, website visitors, etc. So, you know, you're proving that your idea has some movement behind it. I know one of Dave's friends actually that came and presented to Leap In, he said that there's actually people who make fake profiles for different products that they're advertising for, just to test the market and see if it gets the traction that they're hoping for. Obviously, you don't have to do that for this pitch, but just some ideas that people have had. So who are you and what's your idea? So early in your pitch, you should introduce yourself and your idea or your business. Highlight the key things that your customers need to know about what your business is and why they should trust you, the founder. So we kind of called it the 5 W's and 1 H, but some of the questions that you'll want to answer are, what does your business do / what experience or skills do you have? So where is your business located, or where have you learned your skills? So for that, like, you can talk about like where you went to school, you're backing up the experience and skills that you're saying you have, you know, where you learned them. Who does your business help / who are you, the founder, and why does it matter? So, you know, if it's a business that has a personal cause to you or anything like that, you can highlight that if you're comfortable. When could I use your business / when did you start this business? So, you know, in what scenarios could your business be useful, and how long have you been in business for, essentially? You know, when did you start? Why does this business matter to your customer / why did you start this business? So I'm sure you may be familiar with Simon Sinek, you know, focused on finding your why. This is kind of to that point. You know, the why behind the business, but also why it matters to your customer. You know, what problems are you solving for them? What benefits does that give, and what benefits does that have? How do you help, and how do you know it's a good idea? So use this to show your business validity and establish customer trust. So problem solving. Every business or idea must solve a problem. Your solution should solve the pain in a new, better, or unique or different way than the competition, or capitalize on the opportunity that you have identified. So what problem do you solve or opportunity have you identified? That's the customer pain or opportunity. Who are you helping? That is your target customer. And then how do you solve the problem? That is your solution. So sharing your business model. Show that you understand the size of the market, know your product features and numbers by heart. You'll want to be specific. So when you're reviewing your financing and costing, you'll want to say, have you made money? How much? If not, how much could you make? And then discussing your marketing and distribution, you know, how do I get money out of my customers? What goals have you set or met? Distribution, how are they getting the product? What is the potential? Have you made money? How much? And if not, how much could you make? So, you know, the guy with the cup ad, he said if they get 58 coffee stands within 1 month for every month for 12 months, you know, he projected that the profit would be over $1 million. So giving examples like that is always good. Strong, powerful statements. And then also, you know, your costing structure and what resources do you have? So anything like discussing how people will buy, or using an online store, in person, pop-ups, anything like that. Those are the things that people will want to know.
Okay, so for features and benefits, you need to make sure that you share these with your audience. Now, we always say features tell and benefits sell. So the idea here is to help the audience really understand how the product and the service works. You're really wanting to show, like, depending on what you're selling, it could be quite intricate. So this is your opportunity to kind of get into the little finer details. So a feature, this is something that your product or your service has, and it directly usually addresses a customer problem, where a benefit is more or less the outcome. It is the result of using your product, your service. So outcomes, what your customers get from engaging with you. So if you use the example of a dating app, right? Dating app feature is that it makes matches. A dating app, outcome or benefit is that, well, hopefully it funds you love or a hookup, right? So a water bottle with insulation, well, the insulation factor is a feature, and the outcome, it keeps your drinks hot or cold, right? So we'll use another example here. So if we look at, a modern stove or range, right? Some of the benefits of this stove would be, safety, its ease of use, its affordability, could be the prestige factor of this awesome range. Features though would be, smooth stovetop surface, it's non-scratching, it's self-cleaning, convection capabilities, those warming bins. So those are all cool things you might be looking for, but really in a lot of ways, these are the factors that sell a lot of products. It's more about the outcomes, what we get in the end. So depending, typical household products, people are probably looking more at the features. If we're selling something that's a service, we're selling something that is a bit more, has a little bit more heart involved, it's more likely going to be about the outcomes or the benefits. Okay. And Malika, thank you for joining us. Next, we have Tell a Story. I think it's back to you, Jenny.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, sorry, I'm just following along my notes here. So tell a story. So paint a picture in your mind of your audience. Have the audience imagine the problem or the benefit and a solution in a way that makes it personal to them. So, you tug at your heartstrings, if you will. Define and relate the problem clearly. Show how you improve people's lives. Make sure the story has a beginning, middle, and an end. So if you start your pitch with a big question or like a cliffhanger, if you will, you want to make sure at the end you wrap that up and you're not still leaving people hanging on that one point, unless that is your goal, to leave them hanging on that point. But also it can work at the beginning or the end of a pitch. And then, so be a closer. Our fearless leader, Kelsey Curry, always says, pitch without asking for anything is just a story. So, when you see Dragon's Den and Shark Tank, they're all asking for a specific amount of money or equity usually in each pitch. You want to make sure you're asking for what you need as well. So what do you want to get out of this? What actions do you want the audience to take? Do you want to ask for a sale? Ask your customers to try it out? Ask for a sign up, maybe join a mailing list if you're building subscribers that way. Ask for referrals, for a promotion, people to share your content. Ask for a trial period. So, if people are kind of on the fence, if you're providing a service or anything, give them a small amount of time where they can try before they buy, if you will. Ask for testimonials. So I know lots of businesses, they actually ask people for Google reviews and different things like that. Ask how you can do better. So asking for feedback is huge. We had a few contestants last year that had emailed me asking for feedback from our judging panel and different things like that. So you can do that too. Ask for information and ask for a download. So if you have an app or anything like that, and that's what you would like people to do, just make sure you're asking for what you want and that it is clear. It is clear ask. So finishing touches. Once you have determined what you're going to say in your pitch, it's time to polish and practice. So practice obviously makes you better. Edit, practice, and repeat. So be clear, be credible, be concise. If you are pitching, so obviously you can pitch it to yourself. I would suggest pitching it to your friends or your family, asking them for any feedback that there may be that they could see included. But start with your script and improvise from there. The best information always comes out from your heart. And then 250 to 350 words is about what you're aiming for. If you're a numbers kind of person, you like to see it laid out like that on a page, which is about 2 minutes. So 2 minutes is the absolute maximum for this competition. Your pitch can be between 1 and 2 minutes. And it's totally, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jenny, finish your saying.
I was just going to say, it's totally normal to be nervous. It just means that you care. So we know that your business is, your business idea is something personal to you. You've probably been thinking about a long time. And it can be tough if things aren't received in the way that, you're hoping for, but it is all good. We are all learning, and this is an educational opportunity that just happens to come with money.
I was just going to add that I find it helpful when writing these kind of value propositions and pitches. Okay, so we put 250, 350 words should put you at about 2 minutes. Start with way less. It is a lot easier to add than it is to take away when it comes to pitching. So if you end up with 500 after you write it the first time and you have to remove, it starts to really break the whole sense of what you created. So start smaller and build out from there, ideally. That's I'm talking from personal experience myself, because it is really hard to rebuild something that's just way too long. I think this is back over to me now, right, Jenny? Awesome.
Yes.
So we'll talk about the video here. So you don't need a bunch of fancy tools, and you shouldn't go out and buy any. You really don't need to for this presentation. Use what you have and work with that. So many of these things can be, used for free as a student at the college. So like I already said, you've got a cell phone, that works as your camera. Each of you have a webcam right now, that works as well. If you want to do slides, you can use PowerPoint or many other software. Like PowerPoint has video recording built into it. You can use Zoom to do recording. If you want to make a beautiful slide presentation, you use something like Canva and then talk over top of that. So there's lots of options out there. If you'd like a nicer camera and you want it like high quality video, but you don't have those assets at home and you don't feel like using your cell phone, you can go to Fanshawe Media Services, free rentals there, all sorts of camera equipment and tripods and microphones and everything you could ever want is available to you for free. It's just through the library if you've never used media services before. You also have access to Photoshop and editing software through there, high level stuff and basic stuff. So I would definitely recommend, if you've never done video editing before, using something as simple as, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of it.
Adobe Spark?
Adobe Spark, yes.
Yeah.
Adobe Spark or Adobe Rush. They're both free programs, super easy to use. You can even edit video right on your phone as well if you're just looking to make quick cuts. But if you need any specific help with stuff like that, definitely come see us or talk to the team over at Media Services too. They'll give you advice as well. And we can always help with that. But lots of resources are available to you for free. And yeah, like the whole Adobe Creative Cloud, if you don't have it, it is free for Fanshawe College students, as well as the Microsoft Office Suite, which I'm sure you're already aware of. Show and tell. So one of the advantages, obviously, of the video pitch is that you can use elaborate visuals. That's great to communicate. But we want to make sure that the whole presentation isn't just that, right? You can use photos of it. You can use photos of customers, photos of yourself, a video of the service in action, a demo of what it might be, screenshots of your website or social media or testimonials from others. On the website for the competition, there's a bunch of examples of other pitches that are on there, as well as some longer videos that were added from our demo day, which is part of our accelerator program. And you can see kind of other examples of people including other people in the presentation too. So check those out. But the most important part is we want to see you. So don't hide behind all the visuals. Spend some time actually talking to the camera. Speak directly to the camera. Make sure that you're fully present. And make sure that we can hear you. So always double check your audio before you start getting into long recording sessions. Make sure the audio is actually working. You don't want to nail it and then have to go back and redo it. Make sure you dress the part as well. Doesn't mean you got to dress up in formal wear, but dress the part. If you're a baker, maybe wear a chef's hat. If you're a mechanic, maybe wear something that is appropriate for the business, something to kind of help us visualize what you're talking about. You just want to represent your business really well. So, and try to, be animated and passionate in the way you look and speak, but pay attention to that body language. I get crazy with my hands. So, make sure they're not going all over the place too. You don't want to distract from the important part of the presentation. And again, double check that audio and make sure to smile. It helps if it looks like you're enjoying yourself. Puts everybody at ease. The other part, try not to get overwhelmed. You don't need to know how to be an amazing video editor to make a great pitch video, right? So sitting in one location, holding up the phone and just talking to it is just fine. But creating a slideshow, recording yourself, delivering through Zoom, that's a great way to do it too. So you can also add music and you can add those other videos. But again, remember, we want to learn about your business idea, not about your video editing skills, okay? And again, don't forget to practice. It really shows videos that get submitted when nobody's practiced. We can usually tell. So make sure you take your time and actually give yourself a bunch of dry runs through this so that you give your best chance of success for this. Just some reminders, this is all on the website. The submission window you have up until November 3rd to send the video in at 11:59 p.m. The voting for People's Choice will take place between the 5th and the 11th. So if you want a chance to win that extra $500, make sure you're thinking about who you're going to recruit to get this video out there. We will be putting up a link that will take people to a voting page. So you'll want to have that link ready to go and sharing it out with whoever you think might want to support you. So give some thought to that as well. And then we will be announcing the winners on November 12th. Things to think about, obviously, you guys are both, Vanessa and Malika, you're both Fanshawe College students, but make sure that if you are including other people in the video, they have to, you as well as them have to sign a video release waiver, and that has to be submitted with the video as well. It's just a PDF with a signature. Make sure that you're complying with the student code of conduct in your video, so nothing inappropriate or offensive in your videos. And all videos have to comply with the current COVID restrictions. So make sure you're just aware of what that is. And then be aware, yes, your video, if chosen, is going to be displayed on our website so that people can look at them and vote for them. So you want to put your best foot forward there. Now for the judging, if you weren't aware, there's two main categories. There's product or service and technology. And then our panel of judges for that, they're our past winner, Fanshawe College, Kinlan professors, as well as other business owners and community members are on the panel, the selection panel for this. This is the rubric that they will be using to judge your pitch on. This is on the website as well. So, they first are going to identify, was it towards a customer? Was it towards an investor? Then they'll be looking for, did you mention who the target customer was specifically? Do you identify the problem or need very clearly? Is the solution that you've proposed or your product or your service clear? Is it understood? Did you talk about what makes you unique compared to the competition? What are the overall benefits and features that you've identified? And is the ask clear? Was there an ask and was it clear? And then the last part is, the clarity and communication overall of the presentation, and then a wow factor, anything that really stood out and impressed them. So this is what they'll be using to kind of to score and rank everybody. I guess I was supposed to delete that slide, sorry. And then lastly, technical requirements here. So again, videos are between 1 to 2 minutes long, 2 minutes max. If it is longer, we'll ask you to kind of shave some time on there. Make sure that your video doesn't contain any copyrighted music or photos or videos without permission. So if you are using any of that stuff, make sure you're, addressing that appropriately. Try to keep the file under 250 megabytes. And your video should be submitted in an MP4 file format. But if you can't figure out how to do that, just email one of us and we'll let you know how to get that file taken care of. Make sure you don't forget your video release waiver and that it has to go in by November 3rd at 11:59. And yeah, the prize money is $1,000 again for our two main categories and $500 for the fan favorite. And if you're looking for more examples, this deck is available on the website with all the links to these here. And then some more are on the website as well. And then on the website, there's a whole list of a ton of resources there for you to use. And they're in this deck as well, which is also live on the website. And with that brings us to the end. We wish you good luck. And I hope you enjoy the process of creating your pitch. And if you have any other questions, now is a good time to ask them. Anything? Nothing?
I think I'm okay. That was good.
That was good? That answered everything you needed?
Yeah, I think so far.
Awesome. Great. Malika, any questions for you?
No, I'm just suffering with nerves spurts. That's all. There's nothing you can do to help me with it. With the nerves, my brain is overthinking a lot, and I'm a person that I pride myself on being creative, right? Even with words and stuff, winning competitions back home for like and writing stuff that people win competitions with. However, creative writing, right? Which is a lot of words. So now I have to try to make this creative, yes, but concise, which is something I am battling with. Even in like classes, we had to do some video presentations. So the first one was a bit wordy. The second one, I cut it down. It was still a bit wordy. And I'm like, oh my God, seriously, this is so hard. How to cut these words? But as you said, it's better to start with less words, answering I think it's 5 points you had there, about 10 or 5 points, answering like the problem, the solution, whatever. So I think I will try to do it like that. Oh, one question though, the testimonials, do they have to be video? Can it be like I get my customers who have sampled my stuff already to do written testimonials like via email or text or whatever, and I could just make it into like if I get permission from them, because I want to limit the words, right? So I was thinking, tell me if this is feasible. Okay, so I have a few testimonials to get from Saskatchewan, some from Ontario. I can ask them to give me a testimonial in 5 words, or not really a testimonial, give me a description of my product, how they felt about my product, an adjective, 5 adjectives or whatever, and then I can use it and say so-and-so from XY said so-and-so on sampling my product and stuff. Is that okay, or do I need to have their videos and stuff? Because I know that will make it a bit longer with the videos, right?
Yeah, I think the 2 minutes is yours, what you want to do with it, right? I think you need to decide what is going to take up, what portion of your presentation is going to need focus. So I don't want to put too many boxes or restrictions on you. I think the idea either or could work. It just depends on how much time it takes up. I like the idea of the adjectives. I could see how that could fit in. And it's great to show a little bit of validation of how you've already, you're giving us evidence of this product already being, maybe used in the market. So it is definitely helpful information, but yeah, just be aware of how much time that takes up and how important that is versus whatever else you might want to be expressing. But I could see both work. Just be conscious of that time. Definitely when you're writing your pitch too, make sure you're using a word counter. That can always be helpful to avoid you getting too wordy. Just even using Microsoft Word, keep an eye on the counter at the bottom.
I plan to use Microsoft Word and then from there, put it into a PowerPoint or whatever else. But as you said, the 250 to 350, I'll try to stick to 250 because I speak very fast. So I'll need to try to speak slowly. And the more words I have, I will actually speak a lot faster. And I guess you wouldn't understand me because I speak very, very fast.
Yeah, remember, we're not going to be able to ask questions, right? So you have to make sure it's clear so that the people on the other end have a good chance of understanding what, the point you're trying to get across. The other thing you can try too is there is a software, we have a link for it on the site called Pitcherific. You can get a free trial, I think for 7 or 14 days. And it has like a teleprompting software and also has pitch templates built into the software. So you actually can kind of throw your information in the templates. It has like a word counter and actually it'll give you a time based on the number of words it's put in. You kind of find a match pace of how you speak and it'll tell you how long that pitch is expected to be based on how fast you talk and how many words you've placed in. So might be a cool tool to check out.
Thank you, will do.
Awesome. Any other questions for Jenny or I? No? Awesome. Jenny, any last words?
Just remember that they're due November 3rd by 11:59 p.m. So looking forward to seeing those submissions. And if you have any questions, just send us an email.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, it was really nice to meet both of you. Wish you both luck and can't wait to see your videos.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. You enjoy the rest of your days.
Good luck.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks,
Good luck.
you too. Bye.